Hey everyone, welcome back to Tacit Agreement. I'm back starting off on this year's Advent of Code 2024. Um, and in day one, we are getting the introduction to the story. We're going to follow the chief historian to various locations. And in this first puzzle, we have numbers side by side in rows of, in each line of text. We have numbers separated by spaces. And what we're trying to do is find the difference between, first sort both lists of numbers, find the difference between them, and then sum the differences. So I solved this earlier in the lower bean, and I'm going to talk through what I did when I solved it. So I already have my example and input text loaded into a couple of files. So I'm going to first read in the example file. And first thing I want to do is start parsing the input into some Uiua arrays. So initially I'm just going to use partition into boxes, splitting on new lines. And I can see that this gets me my desired new line splits initially. So now within partitions function, I'm going to do something a little bit more detailed in order to split off each number. So I similarly am going to split on that space character. That's what @space indicates. And I tried to parse that directly, but I'm starting to hit a little bit of confusion because I realized that I need to have some stack manipulation modifier in order to split that correctly. So we now have parsed each number, and it's popped into a nice two-dimensional array there. And now I can start to operate on this to solve the challenge. So next here, I'm going to be looking to sort each row or each list. So I turn on its side with transpose, sort the rows, and now I need to find the distance for each set. So in this initial example, they all happen to be positive. So if I sum them, I get the correct total distance. But as we'll see in a moment here, that's not valid for the puzzle input. There is some negative differences. So I'm going to come back here and see that I actually need to apply the absolute value. So I do a little bit of debugging here, and if I just look at my values, I can see that each list is sorted appropriately. And so my pairs should be correct here, but I need to inspect what does the difference look like. And so immediately I see all kinds of negative numbers. So I just want to look back at the puzzle prompt and see if it says something about positive or negative distance. But when I see that they're talking about distance, pure distance, to me that implies absolute value. So when we use absolute value, this gets a larger solution, which is correct. So that's 1 gold star. So I'm going to take a moment to read the part 2 puzzle prompt. And in this case, we realized that we were misinterpreting the values of these two lists. And rather than finding the distance between the sorted lists, we need to count the number of occurrences of the left list in the right list. So this is, again, straightforward to do in Uiua. It's actually just a equals operation. So once I start to understand what's happening here, I can start to work on this this part of the problem. So I want to come back and try to do all of, or as much of 2024 as I can, producing YouTube videos. I think it'll be fun to work through these and share what I'm doing, share my thought process. I'm curious in your feedback, what, if there's something I could be doing differently, what might be good. So please let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like me to see, or if there's anything I can be doing to explain things differently. So for what I'm going to do for part 2 is first uncouple, split my two-dimensional array into two one-dimensional arrays. I'm going to flip so that the left list is on the top of the stack, and I want to apply an equals operation for each item in my left list to my right list. So in order to do that, I have to fix the right list so that when I go for my row-wise operation, it just gets duplicated. And I can see for all the 3s there, for instance, they are each getting marked 3 times. So that looks good, that's correct. And then within my rows operation, I realized that I want to keep that left list value and multiply by it. So I'm sort of getting a little bit confused trying to get the stack operation right to, within rows, keep my scalar value, and so I can multiply it after I find all of those occurrences in the right list. So I'm hunting through stack modifiers, and I don't actually find the one I need. I would have to double check, but it's whichever one keeps the last value, apply a function and keep the last input on the stack. I'll have to double check what that is. But so I end up just going with a duplicate dip combination. So I'm sure that part can be optimized, and I'll want to review that before I look at day 2. But eventually I find a working operation. I can sum those up and multiply, and then once I have each multiple for each occurrence in list 1, I can do a sum reduction on that, and that is the solution to the puzzle. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to continuing to solve with you on Advent of Code. So take care, and I'll see you soon.